Welcome to our first session of the Jerusalem Massage interview series. This series will be about how rhythms and pulses play a part in our health and well-being. Today we have the privilege to be with Shmuel Berger, a physical therapist and founder and developer of Cranial Balance Therapy. Cranial Balance Therapy integrates Shmuel's background in physical therapy, osteopathy, martial arts, meditation, and Kabbalah. Presently, Shmuel teaches and trains hundreds of holistic practitioners in Israel and all around the world. Morning, Shmuel.
Good morning, Matt. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for taking your time to share your wisdom with us this morning.
My pleasure.
This morning in Jerusalem time. So let's get straight to business. First question. So there's different pulses in our body, and each of the different pulses have different meanings, and they give us different information about a person. If the heart rate is too low, it means something, it's a problem. If it's too high, it's another type of problem. So as a physical therapist and cranial balance practitioner, how do you use different pulses in the body to receive information?
Okay, Matt. First thing you have to do is you have to distinguish between Western and Eastern medicine and what Western and Eastern medicine looks as a pulse. For example, the heart rate, from a Western point of view, it's like a machine that pumps blood throughout the body in a normal resting rate of about 70 to 80 times per minute. Any machine could really measure that. It's really one-dimensional because the Western medicine sees the body as a machine, as it's a mechanical model. The pulse that we're talking about and we really want to get into is more the energetic pulse. Let me give you an example. Since you already mentioned about the heart rate, if you ever have seen a Chinese medical practitioner, the first thing that he'll do is check the heart pulse. Now, he's not just checking and if he puts his fingers on the pulse here, what's called the radial pulse, he's not just checking the number of times that the heart is beating. Rather, he just listens very, very carefully with his fingers, and he's able to tell what's going on in the body on every single level. On the every single organ, he can really feel with his fingers, under his fingers. If he's concentrating very carefully, he can know what's going on with the kidneys, what's going on with the liver, and it's called Chinese pulse diagnosis. It's the flow of what the Chinese practitioners call qi. Now, that's one way of diagnosing what's going on with the body. I've also had the privilege of seeing some energy healers who are able to feel energy patterns off the body. And what they've done is basically they feel different major energy areas, which in Indian medicine is called chakras, and they're able to feel the energetic imbalance, if it's too strong or it's too weak. Now, there was a study done by Niels Mohan, who was a physicist in the U.S. Navy about 20 years ago, that Dr. John Upledge, who was the founder of Cranialsacral Therapy, when he was doing his landmark work and discovering about cranialsacral therapy, they measured actually 50 different wave patterns coming off the body. So the body is constantly in a certain rhythm and a pulse. And what we try to do from what we call maybe an Eastern perspective, from a holistic perspective, is bringing the body into balance, bringing the pulses into a state of disharmony, which causes dis-ease. The word disease is coming from, you can break it down into dis-ease, when the body is not calm and is restricted. And our goal is to listen very carefully with our hands and with our heart and with our inner mind, and see and feel what's going on. What I teach and the way I work with is we can look at basically two major pulses. One is the pulse of and the rhythm of each of the organs. That is the work founded by Jean-Pierre Barral, who is a French osteopath, who is able to feel what he calls the motility and the energetic state of each organ. So by placing your hands on, for example, the liver, which has a certain movement and a certain range of motion and a certain energetic state that you could feel if there's a dysfunction there. And with a very slight correction, we could feel that pulse is out of balance, and we can help rebalance that liver and restore health to that organ.
Is that different than the Chinese pulse
it's very interesting.
diagnosis of the different organs? And
Good question, Matt. There's correlation. What I've done, and I've worked together with Chinese practitioners, while I'm working on the liver, for example, I have the Chinese practitioner actually feeling the liver pulse, and you actually feel a change in the state and a much stronger, much more even liver pulse from at the level of the radial pulse in the forearm.
so like instead of doing acupuncture to clear up the liver meridian or whatever.
Right. Well, that's where we work hand in hand, because basically what we try to do as holistic practitioners is we feel the pulse and the energy flow imbalances in the body. What you talked about at acupuncture is a system which works through the meridians, which energy channels through the body, and that there are specific points that would help attune and balance out. If the energy may be low, you have to bring up the energy. If there's too much energy flowing or if energy blocked, there are certain energy points. So the visceral work that we do, and we use in the example of the liver, I feel it's the most direct and effect, and has the most direct, most powerful effect, and it also influences the meridians. Vice versa, if you're working acupuncture meridians, you will feel the liver health and the energetic state of the liver improve. But I feel if you want to get to the source, you treat the source. And so it affects, if we go right to the liver and we feel the imbalance in the liver, we can restore health, which is restore energy at energy bounds, which will bring more blood supply to the area, more energy to the area. And I found many cases, for example, of hepatitis and some people who have fatty liver, that the conditions actually improved very, very rapidly. And that's one. So we talked about the pulse of the internal organs.
Right.
The other pulse that we use is the core pulse of the body, and what we call the cranialsacral rhythm. And
so that's actually my next question.
Oh, imagine that. Good. Okay, so we'll go right into the next question, and as we're addressing the cranial wave of the cranialsacral rhythm.